to an important issue and directing decision makers towards a solution. It is working with other people to make a difference. Somebody too says it's a political process designed to influence policy change at local, national, and international levels. At different levels, you can influence policy change. Right from your community level, you can influence policy change. Now, there are different strategies, okay, when you are making policy, when you want a policy. For example, if you want a law, you are doing legal advocacy. It means that you have to target parliamentarians. If you want a law, you target which people? If you want a law, you target parliamentarians, right? Because they do the laws, right? If you want a policy from the executive, you have to target which people? If you want a policy to come from the government, who will you target to help you to change it? Who? The executive. The executive consists of the president and the cabinet and the ministers. Good. You are very good. Now you want a policy or something to be changed in your society that has to do with the society. So let me give you an example. There was a time in Ghana, maybe many of you were not born, where in Accra, women were killed one after the other, until we counted 34 women dead. Who remembers that? If you were born, let me know. Yes, some of you were born, some of you were not. Women in a certain part of Accra, we wake up in the morning and we hear a woman has been killed. And they will go and find the body. The woman is half naked, with some condoms by her. There's blood somewhere. It looked like ritual killing. It also looked like somebody is just killing them one after the other, or some people were killing, but other people were also copying the killing, right? It went on and on for a long time, and at woman number 15 or so, some of us said, no way. We can't let this continue to go on. What we needed was that the killings must stop. That was our goal. Those killings must stop. So as advocates, we organized. At that time there was no mobile phone. We used the cring phone. We will call each other. I'll call my friend here. I'll call whether it's Hillary or whoever. We'll just call and say, today we are going to wear red and black. We are going to sit in front of the police headquarters on the road and cry. So we'll just wear red and black. We'll mobilize from the market everywhere. NDC women, NPP women, because the thing was frightening. By all the people who were frying yam, even by the side of the road, they stopped. Because everybody was afraid. We will mobilize from across, nurses, bankers, whatever. We'll go and sit in front of the police station and start crying, police headquarters. Then we'll march to Parliament. Then we will go to try and go to the presidency. We made such a nuisance of ourselves that the government began to think that we had been co-opted by the opposition. But then the government changed hand and we continued with the same thing until the government invited the FBI to come and help the Ghana police, and then they caught one man. When they caught the man, he confessed to having killed 8 of the women. And then he actually was taken to court. He was prosecuted for, he's serving a life sentence right now. And the moment they caught that man, after that all the killings stopped. That was our goal. We used a social mobilization advocacy to achieve a goal of getting women to stop being killed. That was our goal. It was a policy goal that we had. We made so much noise. In fact, we called ourselves Sisters Keepers in those days. And after we achieved that goal, we decided that, the group should break up. We are no longer Sisters Keepers. Okay? So, depending on the goal you want to achieve, you have to undertake certain strategies to get there. If you want a law to be passed, you should make sure you are engaging your MPs, you are putting together the proposals, you are going to Parliament, the Attorney General must look at the law. There's a whole process for you to get the law. If you are an advocate who wants a law passed on a particular thing, that's what you do. If you want a policy on youth reproductive rights, you have to go through the cabinet. If you want a social mobilization policy, you must be prepared to become a nuisance. That is the only way you can get some of these things done. Some people use media advocacy. Okay, they are on air with particular issues, wanting to have it changed, and they will use the media until they see the thing changed. And you would see that multimedia, City FM, they are very, very good. City, they call them City FM now? Yes, City FM multimedia. They are very good in influencing policy when things happen, because they will keep on it on the media until they see the changes coming. They are very, very good, including Caleb. He really worries. How many people listen to Caleb? You don't know Caleb on City FM? Oh, you have to find him. You have to find him. You know, he's joking, but he's influencing policy, right? Right. Community engagement. Maybe many of you are there in your communities. You have a chief, you have a queen mother, and you want some changes to happen in your community. You need to find a strategy to engage the chief and the queen mother and the elders so that that thing will change. And I'm telling you, if you are doing community-based advocacy and you ignore a very important person in the equation, who can guess who that person is? Anybody? You want something changed, you need to engage the king and the chiefs of the village so that they will help that thing to change. There is somebody that you can't ignore. Who do you think that person is? Yes. The assemblyman is one very important person, because now in our communities there are assembly people. So you can't ignore the assembly people. If you want something changed in your community, they have to be involved. But there is another person who is very important in our villages. Yes, ma'am. Oh, please clap for her. Please clap for her. Why is the Bongo Peter a very important person? You cannot. He announces the issue in the market square. The Bongo Peter is often drunk. Often. He appears to be drunk or what? Is CIA. He knows everything that is going on in the community. And if you want to come and change something in your community and you ignore the Bongo Peter, he's the one who will go and say, Ken, Odiamro. Yes, Kwasiaphobia Baha. One person on the pipe, they see Abubuano. By the time you are done, he has spoiled your work. Also, don't ignore the most important people in the line of trying to change a policy. Sometimes the secretary to the cabinet is more important than the president in your policy. Sometimes the side chick. But I'm not going to say anything. In case you know a side chick and you can engage them. Sometimes it's the person who signed the letter that the minister has written. And you need to identify them so that that which you're looking for, you'll be able to get. And sometimes your strategy can be so effective. One last thing I'll say before I get down from this, because this is a whole training, but we're just trying to make it small so that we were trying to get the domestic violence law passed. We tried for almost 10 years before it was passed. Some of you are too young to know. The domestic violence law was to tackle issues of people who are being abused within the family space. It was a very difficult thing until we decided to release, apart from all the writing, the proposal, the going to Attorney General, wherever Parliament, we decided to do a documentary and we released it. In that documentary was this woman who had suffered from domestic violence in a very bad way. She had not died, but her arms were cut by her husband. So you see her arms hanging. And the way she was really injured from the attacks, unfortunately, her husband. We managed to find her and she agreed to do the documentary. We released the documentary. The moment we released the documentary and it went on air, people started calling radio stations. You know, it was so impactful for people to see feely what domestic violence can do. So your strategy is as good as your goal. I said your strategy is as good as your goal. That strategy got the domestic violence being passed by Parliament in the shortest possible time after we had worked on it for almost 10 years. So sometimes you need to be very strategic in terms of being a policy advocate. So this is where I'll end it, okay? Because for Springboard Roadshow, their aim is also to let you know that whatever you seek to be, you have to try and make a difference in your community and in your society. That dream on your heart is also the dream of many other people, many young people, many people who are around you. If you don't move, nothing will happen. You may achieve your dream. I believe I've achieved my dream. I don't know what else I want to become, but just continue to talk and help people, okay? You may achieve it, but if you don't move, many people will not be impacted by the work that you have done. And sometimes the way you can shift things is to shift the policy space and is to shift laws and so on, so that it will benefit the wider society. So thank you very much, and may the Lord help you in all that you want to do. Okay.
All right. So Dr. Angela is the Executive Director of the YAC Foundation. I couldn't introduce her earlier, but for those who were here for the first session, you know who she is. She's worked in the domestic violence space. I think she was speaking a bit about it for the past 25 years. She has a lot of experience in there, so believe her when she tells you what she says. The next speaker, so in fact, she has laid the foundation of how we can be aware of policy, how we can engage with the stakeholders. So the next speaker is just going to take us from there on tips to engage policymakers with confidence. And she has established herself in the UN space in terms of fighting discrimination against women for a number of years, more than a decade. And so she's no better person than to speak on this matter. Dr. Hilary Bidema is our next speaker, but before she comes, there's a form that the facilitators are going to be passing around. If you registered before the start of the program, you would be given the form, you fill your name, you fill your phone number and the signature, and they'll take the form back. This is only for those who registered for the program. Okay, so I understand your phone number should be your mobile money number. So just register your name, your phone number, that's your mobile money number, and then your signature. This is only for those who signed or registered for the program. Now, Dr. Hilary, can we have you? A round of applause, please.
Good afternoon. How is it going? Fantastic. I want to thank you all. And I want to thank the speakers who have gone before me. You have laid the foundation. There's very little for me to do. We have gone through a journey. We have gone through how to achieve your objectives. We have looked at policy. What is it that we are achieving? We want to engage with policymakers. My task is simple. How? How do we get to these people? And how do we get them to listen to us? How do we create that platform that makes us end our message acceptable? That's all. Let's move. Please, I will serve notice. I'm going to be here less than 30 minutes. So those who intend to sleep May those who are next to them make sure they keep awake. There was a time I was giving a lecture and somebody was sleeping. And I don't usually take kindly to people sleeping. Not because what I'm saying is special. It's because your bed is more comfortable than the chair. Why can't you to sleep on the chair? So I pointed the gentleman out that, oh, uncle, it seems you are sleeping. You have to be polite. I'm going to talk about communication skills. So you don't tell him he's sleeping. You tell him, it seems he is sleeping. Uncle shook, rubbed his eyes. No, I'm not sleeping. The way you are addressing this topic is so nice that I'm praying for you. So, exactly. So those uncles in the room who have closed their eyes to pray for me, please, I know you prayed in the morning before coming. When you go home, you'll also pray for me. So at this time, please keep your eyes open. Otherwise, I will call you out. So first of all, we are looking at tips to engage the policy makers. So, of course, we are talking about communication skills. Dr. Angela told us the various strategies. And in each of them, you are engaging people. Some of these things we know already, but we are just collecting them together and affirming that they are really good practices that we should continue to look at. So communication, of course, is the art of transferring information from one place to the other, using your voice, non-verbal forms. You know, when we were younger, our parents wanted to discipline us. Sometimes they didn't need to talk. They just close their eyes, and then you know what you're doing is wrong. Non-verbal. Written forms, visuals, like you saw throughout today. I'm not using any visuals now. I'll get through them fast. And these help us to choose what is best for what audience. If you're going to see the chiefs in the village, you are not going to take this presentation alone because there's even no electricity. But if you are engaging a certain group of people, you want the message to stick. They say a picture is worth what? 1,000 words. They see 3, 4, 5 visuals, and they know that no. This has stuck in their minds. So each one, according to the group you are dealing with, selecting the appropriate communication channel. So the question is, who are you trying to reach? And which is the best? Because your communication channel for policy may be a press conference, it may be dealing with the executive. You want to make a nice briefing pack and give to the executive. It could be public discussion or debate or a conference. Sometimes we take the parliamentarians out for a 2-3 day conference. And you must make sure that the message must reach the intended people. And here it is important that you get the timing right. At this time, going forward, if you want to engage parliamentarians, count down to elections. The thing must probably be very crucial, or else this is not the right time. So there's a place for the written word, which can be memos, letters, emails. There's a place for the spoken word, conversations, phone calls, and so on. They are immediacy. But when you take the written word, the person can be looking at it over and over again. So you decide which is best. Non-verbal, when you're talking to people, the way you react, the person will know that this message, or you will know that this message is not going on. The visual messages and today the multimedia. So there are several publicity tools when we are engaging policymakers and so on. As Angela mentioned, some of them, we meet them, we have roundtables, we give flyers, we go into the streets, we make press releases. She spoke about the Mr. Caleb, press kits, and the use of ICT and the WhatsApps and the whatnots. So, communication is important. What did I just say? What did I just say? And you must invest in your communication skills and strategies. And as we said, they are verbal, they are non-verbal. We'll come to that. It's crucial. The same thing you need. One person can ask for it and get it. The other person asks and will not get it. It's not juju. It's not witchcraft. Sometimes it is just the way you craft the message. Some people come to you to talk about something, policy advocates. No head or tail of the conversation. They start, they don't finish the sentence. They start another sentence. It's halfway. They jump to the conclusion. They come to the beginning. In Ewe, we call that godon. What did I say? Godon. And my people down south will add another one. Trauma. So put yourself together for communication. No godon. No trauma. Well structured. It makes an influence in what will be accepted. So most of us use speaking because you can personalize the message. You know what somebody wants to hear. You know how to talk to appeal to the person. You know who can engage that person better. You tailor the message. And you can see a quick reaction when you're talking to somebody, whether they're listening or not, whether they're paying attention or not, you can tell. As I'm standing here, I'm seeing those who are listening and those who have given up. The weather is too hot. Let this woman finish talking quickly and go home. There are better things to do. I can see all of you one by one. Still, you need to structure. You need a good vocabulary. And this thing, and yes, I was going and this thing, and the words have finished. Okay, it's like that. It's like you were. How can something be like you are going somewhere? It is like you were going to the market, and it was like you said, and it was like. How can we be like going to the market? You are either going or you're not going. How can you be like going to the market? So that like, please take it out of your vocabulary. I was like about to tell him to say, then he was like about to answer me. Please, when you say something is like something, it is similar. Yes, I cannot be like going to the market. How? I can be like cloth, which I'll be very honored to be. That is how you are like something or someone. Thank you. Your speech must be evidence-based. As my dear friend, Dr. Angela said, based on scientific basis. Good evidence-based ground for your communication. They ask you, where did you hear it from? There were some people talking in front of the post office, and the way they were talking, I knew that this means this. No. It must be logical. And this is what I am missing from conversations today. No logic. People are just throwing everything in there anyhow. No logic. So your speech, your presentation, your engagement must be undergirded with a good vocabulary, good structure, evidence-based, and logical. Straight away I'm saying something. I'm saying that those of us who are experts in pidgin language, English, should also be experts in conventional English. Are we together? I'm not saying don't speak pidgin English. it has become a subculture. So, fine. Can you imagine going to the president and say, it'd be like say, this president who is speaking English like he just came from Buckingham Palace. You could say that he be like he do this and it work. So already your matter, as you yourself say, matter spoil. Matter spoil. Isn't that what you say? So, again, if you are responsible for the policy engagement, the physical environment matters. I don't need to talk about it. The sun is shining on you. You are uncomfortable. If I were coming to ask for something, your annoyance with the heat you are facing alone, that's the end of the story. So, the physical environment, the room size, and again, you want to speak to 10 people, and the room is like an amphitheater, as if people didn't come. Psychologically, the environment has broken down the engagement. So watch these things. The ventilation is a problem. Everybody is using their program to fan themselves. But I like it. Please fan yourself. It means you're not sleeping. Those who are not fanning themselves are not feeling the heat, they are asleep. So please fan yourself. Then noise, distraction. And this is one thing I dislike. You call me, and there's a particular person who does that. You call me. You are engaging me on something. And the TV is blasting in the background. And I think that you tell the people with the TV to switch the TV off. No. I say, I can't hear you. It's the TV. Oh. Distraction, noise. This is somebody you are requesting something from. And because telephone conversation is also a means of communication. And I am complaining, you say it's not you, it's the TV. It's the TV in my house. Then, the psychological environment. Respect the audience. Even if you think that you are higher than they are, as we sometimes behave regrettably when we go into certain environments. We think that we have the law on our side. The law has said this, or the policy has said this. We are moving forward. So whether you like it or not, or whether you don't like it or not, we know the law. We know what is there. Respect the audience. Build rapport. Greet them nicely, the way we do in our culture. Greet them nicely with respect. Hello, how are you? They ask for evidence. By the time we finish greeting, we have forgotten what we went there to say. But greet them nicely, build the rapport. Avoid rudeness, which Prof referred to. You come to someone and your hand is in the pocket and you are standing 45 minutes. Somebody did it the other day. I said, take your hand out of your pocket before you stand for me. He said, it's not the whole hand that's in the pocket. Yes, because it was the fingers, the thumb that was in. And so when the person started talking, I was incensed. So I did the very traditional. I said, take your hand out of your pocket before you talk to me. So, madam, it's only my fingers. The thumb. Rudeness. And sometimes it's not as rude as that. But the way we come before certain people is not right. And sometimes we use deception, we distort the facts, we use invalid assumptions, non-logical basis, which are all not the way to engage communication skills. Good humor has a place, but you must know what humor will sell in what environment. If you go and make an off-color joke, you are finished. So if you don't know how to joke with that environment and with those people, please keep the jokes out. Your good ambience, outlook is good enough. Define your objective. The way you talk when you're trying to persuade someone is different from the way you make a narrative. You know, giving a background, like Angela said. Some people want to persuade you and they start with a history from 1953. That is not persuasion. The way you want to approach somebody to explain is also different. The way you want to explore is also different, because that may need some back and forth a little. So plan your engagement. Know what kind of engagement it should be before you go out. Analyze your audience. Who are they? Are they young? Are they old? If I were coming to speak to Queen Mothers today, I will not wear a dress. I will wear a nice slit and cover. Because that is respectful and reflective of who we are. But I know I'm coming to meet young people. If I come in slit and cover, you see now, they are tired. They don't understand anything. And you come and just look at her already. But when you reflect them a little bit decently, they think that, okay, this person can resonate with me. And you open up minds. So we are still on how to communicate. So consider many things. Today, the MC was asking Prof. Prof was saying that she could have, is the cultural background. Vary the message according to who's there. And watch the clock. Don't lose sight of your focus. Today, I transgressed in that area, but I think we somehow managed to get over it. So create the situation. Identify the problem. And actually, Angela has spoken to a lot of these things. Question what it is that is going out and your response. That is the solution. I'm jumping some things. Then we come to something very important. You, the person engaging. Check your grooming and your outfit. First of all, for decency for the group that you're going to see. You are going to meet chiefs and queen mothers. And you wear not even trousers, but the one we used to call piant. Do you know that one? You don't know piant? Piant is the tight one. Isn't that what we used to call it? Piant. And you go and stand before the chief and the elders. And you think because you're talking about the village water supply and they want water, you can do anything. They say, look, she has come in front of us wearing trousers. Nothing has happened yet. Then if we agree, what will happen? In addition to the respect for the environment, look at that what you're wearing is comfortable. It can stand the heat so that we don't speak for 5 minutes and you're drenched in sweat. It can do movement, standing and sitting. Don't wear anything that will distract the audience. The pattern is so big. Girls of the world, unite. And you are not there to speak about girls of the world. And the pattern is here, is here, is here, is here, is here. What are people looking at? Make sure your body language reflects what you're saying. Work on your voice. Some people,
when they're talking, by all means, you have to sleep. Everything is the same level. In 1921, when I came to this place, it was weather and the way and this, and we went here and we would go back and we went forward, and my grandfather and my grandmother, and you will sleep. Vary the tone so that even those who want to sleep cannot sleep. And speak confidently, eye contact. Let the people in the room know that you know they're in the room. Don't just concentrate on the front people and leave the edges. And close your presentation very effectively, very effectively. Show confidence, optimism, that you think we can make it, good listening skills, and so on. And deliver with confidence. Connect with the audience. Prof said something interesting when she came here, that when she comes before a crowd, she doesn't get nervous. Years of experience and of practice. But some of us will get nervous. So what do? Breathe in deeply, breathe in, breathe out. And we are told that adrenaline will get to your brain and sort things out for you. Drink water. If you don't know what to say, at least smile. Smile in that pause where you lose your thoughts. They will know you don't mean anything bad. Pause sometimes, slow down. Again, Prof gave us a good pointer. Move around. It's because of the mic. The mic is fixed. But make use of the space that you have in front of you and make the presentation interesting. Now, one short thing I want to talk about before we go to the next, dealing with questions. Prof said it, answer honestly. Answer concisely. Get to the point quickly. You've been asked the question. Answer the question. And this is a fight I always have with people. Oh, akuchia dare homa. Omo wuchito ndimu. Is that the answer for akuchia dare homa? Have I asked you whether water has been opened since morning? You ask one question, they assume that when they give you an explanation, you should know what the answer is. Answer concisely. Give an illustration if need be, but answer first before you move on to any other aspect of the question. So we'll quickly look at the issue of networking. Now, what is networking? And I'll be very fast with the networking. I could have given a much longer presentation on the networking, but let's get straight to the point and be able to bring whatever to the end. How do you network? We network these days, it's mainly online. The Kolo people, we still use business card. So let me tell you business card etiquette. When somebody gives you their business card, Prof, you gave me your business card today. I just didn't take the card and put it in my handbag. Look at the card. Let the person know that you are interested in the information on the card. If you see anything interesting, ask the person, oh, so you have this qualification as well? Where did you get it? Above all, when you finish getting the business card and the person is not looking, right at the back of the business card, Prof. Asiato, Springboard show, Poly, and write the date. Otherwise, 1 week from now, you look at this business card, you don't know where it came from. Then you call her, and she recognizes you. It's, I thought it was last year we met. If you put the date when you're calling her, you know why and when you're calling her. She will know, then you start fumbling. No. Put the notes on the back. And those of you who are a little more creative, you can have a filing system. So it's about meeting people, exchanging information. You must have a clear idea what you want from the people. Cast a wide net. Look at different types of networking. External, and Prof spoke about that, the people outside the country she was dealing with. Internal. Church is a wonderful networking place. Some of you finish from church, you are in a hurry to sit in your taxi or car and go home because you've already made the soup and you want to go and pound the fufu. That's not how to go to church. After going to church, mix with people. Apart from the spiritual dimension, you get to know them a little better. Be courteous about them. You network for career, you network for growth, and as I said, I'm jumping a lot. The networking will define your sphere of influence. And it came out vividly in Prof's presentation. Network with all those policy people. You will need them again. You will need to engage them. They have to remember you well. Now, some of us think that networking is only for men. It's true, men network more easily because after work, they can stop at the beer place, at the kebab place, and talk about all the important things. You, woman, you finish working, then you go and stand by the kebab seller. People will see you and say, the chop money they've given you, you alone, you've come to eat kebab, even though it's your own money. So these influences make it difficult for women to network. So look at the good places. That's why I say church is a very good place to start. The way you work is a good place to continue. So look at the best places to network, because networking increases access to your resources and to your contacts. It results in more creative solutions. You can take more risks. It spreads the workload, and it raises the community awareness. So with that, briefly, mainly because of the weather, I've made the time also. I can see how uncomfortable you are. But thank you for paying good attention. And I want to thank all those who also are praying with me with their eyes open. Very good. So in short, today, we got the first barrier breaking. We need to break barriers to achieve our goal in life and to get to the policymakers. And from me, I've tried to explain the soft skills, how you can engage the policymakers, and they will be receptive to the message you bring. May nobody leave here and go and talk in a way that is godon, trauma. May our engagements be structured, be intelligent, be incisive, be logical, and produce results. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Hilary Bidema. You are always giving sterling performance and presentations. My takeaway, she ended with that, no godon, no trauma. So if you don't remember anything from what she says, at least please remember that. I jotted 3 things down, and I think they are very important. You know, when you come for some of these programs, it's very easy for you to just listen to the talk and you leave here with nothing. But if we are going to build ourselves with skills in advocating for the things that we want, I think the 3 things she mentioned that I noted are very important. She said communication, the way you communicate, your mannerism in communicating, and then your appearance. If you don't remember anything at all, keep these 3 on your bosom or in your bosom. So that is it from me. I'm sure you have a lot of questions for all our 3 speakers. We're going to have the opportunity to do that. On your program outline, we've written something called colloquium. That is what we're going to be doing, question and answer session with our 3 speakers. But just to tell you that we are live on radio, some radio stations. We're live on Ho FM. We're live on Global FM and then Tosh FM. We're also live on Facebook and then on Zoom as well. We have some people joining us. Now, before we go into the question and answer session, Ni Laye will join us. Nifio Laye is going to join us briefly to talk to us about a little exercise called onboarding. So Nifio, you're ready, please, your audience.
Thank you very much. I'm very tempted to say hallelujah. I will not say hallelujah. Hello? Hello? Please, how many of us were at the morning session? morning session? Just a few hands. Okay, that's fine. And we are going to do a little exercise. It's called onboarding, or in other words, registration. Okay, we are just going to register. So first off, if you came in and then you registered on the first table and you didn't move to the next table, we need you to partake in this exercise. There's another table where we took you through either a hard copy form or someone used a tablet to register you. If you've done that already, that is it. If you have not, we want to use this platform to go through a very short registration. Now we have a USSD code, *718*50#. If you are able to do that, you've registered fully for Ghana Grows. There's also a QR code. If you have a smartphone and you can scan the code, you are fully registered on Ghana Grows. If you have a hard copy form, I'll take you through. Put up your hand, you will be handed over a hard copy, and then we'll take you through the form to fully register on the Ghana Grows program. Okay, I can see some hands up. Please take note of them and then give them a hard copy form. If you already registered down there if someone registered you using our paper or a tablet, you do not need to register again. Okay, you do not need to register again. This is for those who have not registered on the Ghana Grows program. We have a QR code. You can just scan it, register. A few things to note. When you scan the QR code, for those online, there's also a link. You click the link, it takes you to the Ghana Grows General Onboarding form. You go through the form. When you get to location, for those here, you are just going to indicate. For region, you indicate Volta Region. It has a drop down. For district, you just select whole, and then that will be it. For the USSD code, *718*50#. For the USSD code, *718*50#, it's a very simple form. It's just like how you would get an SMS and go through and then buy data or buy airtime, right?
No iblamo lenyebe mile data lo mile nyebe details ado home ta mi won le mo vovo am tonme amado le chachami ka gbale via do le oshwa kono na be anwule klepen na lo nunglo ti ate anwule fa akene ma to anwe ne ma wa code ma onro da fi ma bale ku na be apple unit ale na won ya na egbe call phone na da *718*50# kwa one of bia obiam wabi openko penenie la shio fika na wa dole wabi question no kata na jegoma we de kada kaka wada china nu ku kana sene kwa ka mi ho details e oji mi la mi ho enyema kaka na ma ha matenwa we wa QR code na de picture no ma ha atenwa na forma tanenye ba atenwa zan QR code ha na tan QR code afa kaka matenwa wo QR code a matenwa wo short code ha wa ka sister vie na do yellow ayima paper ma pepe ko ha leshi tatwa hwe ko akono ngloti angle ko kema akpe.
I'll take you through filling the hard copy form.
Akloto ale na wo akono ngloti ako wo paper to.
There are 3 leaves for the hard copy form. 3 leaves. Now the first page or the first leaf is mandatory, it's compulsory, you have to fill it. When you take that first page, in the middle part, you see consent. Right is for persons 17 years and below. So if you are 17 years and below, that is when you fill that site. If you are about 17, skip that site. When you get to location of residence,
we want
to use the location of this event. So don't indicate your location of residence. Some people are coming from Accra. Some people are also coming from Ashanti region. So we want to use this very location.
Eastern region, Volta, Eastern region. That fimi wana like Miller. That the Pamlet Volta region, Nedo district and whole municipality, Nedo city, allo town, community and whole.
So yes, for region is Volta region, district whole, and then town is whole. Then there's a small portion, it's a small box, it's a square. It says, I give my consent to participate in the Ghana Growth Program. I acknowledge that my data will be recorded for the purposes of any interventions or opportunities from the program. Just tick that side for us.
City, town, allo community, I go my own board of my uncle, Blomolenebe, when I overget Volta, well, Easting. Come, you know, when I'm margin details, so I call do and I don't go. The boss V, Manalafma, now Mark Eco,
and then you can sign on the left side in the bigger box.
If I am Yakpadia, signature of my signed of my passport form per me and I signed of my.
After filling the first page, there are other 2 pages.
Also, I have a
but it doesn't apply to everybody because they are in different categories. So whether you are a student or you are an unemployed person, you fill that section. In addition to the first page you've already filled. Below that section, there is for employees, apprentices, trainees, or interns.
For employees, apprentices, trainees, or interns.
So if you find yourself in that category, you fill that section in addition to your first page. And then for the third sheet, it's for employers or self-employed people. If you find yourself in this category, you will be filling this side in addition to the first page. So just simple details, the name of your business, name of business owner. If it's you, the same person who is the owner, just put your name there. The type of business indicates the type of business you are doing. Then location of the business. If it's here, you can write here. If it's elsewhere, you can indicate elsewhere.
Industry, fashion, education, education. Business, Volta Region, municipality, Nanglo Hamadafma. Aha Tolia, Manya Banya Sukuvia, Lo, Dosrovia, Mahianao. Nema Doraka Mahiana, Mayunia, Doto, Unto Dopa, Lashio, Hamodi, Amamo, Quihiana, Aha Tolia, the 3rd page.
Please, if you need assistance to fill the form, somebody would assist you just by putting up your hand. We have volunteers who are ready to assist you to fill the hard copy form.
Yega him work better in Bayatoma, I feel former. Then you David Clefo, no channel home, connect to a shade you what they don't. I put them with Super Natima feel former.
For those watching us online,
Ameyo no kadomi kle emoji.
You have a link which takes you to our onboarding form online.
Me da link ado the emoji ka anaba na hwana to fill form.
We also have a USSD code as displayed.
USSD code hala fimata nyebe aten the photo ko ha to fill form.
Once you dial it, it takes you to a very simple form to fill.
Nyebe eza *71A *50 hasha.
Once you do that, you are fully registered on the Ghana Growth Program.
Details so Ghana Growth Program.
So let me see by hands how many have finished registering. Oh, I see only one person. I see another person. I see 5, 6, 7. We are many here. We should have all registered on the program. Depending on which mode or which access you used, kindly register on the Ghana Growth Program.
Volta Region
So please, if you are done with the hard copy form, kindly put up your hand. We'll have somebody pick up the form from you. If you are done, kindly put up your hand. Or you can pass it to either the extreme person on your left or your right, so that when the volunteer is passing by, they just pick it up. As I said, if you get to the location, you are choosing for region, Volta Region. For the district, you are choosing who. And then the town or community, you are choosing who.
La hagbanto fiko nglodobe location of residence menya o papa meta biamilo afika wona ejila e biamile ta hia bena dofuma na nglo regional na nglo Volta district na nglo home municipality city town or community na nglo ho da fimi ta menya o papa meta biamile la fima.
Some of you already registered before coming here. If you have done so, you do not need to go through this process again.
Amado ha mi register lo mi wo na ya o mi lefe mi we vo afiba egbepe takapa tani be ewe ve maga hia be na ga we ko ameyoma we dungo wa o ko di mi le be wa twa awo na ya.
So there were 2 tables outside. The first table had my colleague Ishmael doing some registration. And then there was another table where I was there with a few other colleagues also doing a registration. So if you did not come to the table where I was seated or a colleague of mine was seated, you need to go through this process we have explained to register fully on the Ghana Growth Program. So please, if you are done, please put up your hands. Let's pick out the forms from you, and then we'll call it a very good time of registration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nee. So all too soon, we are getting close to the end of our program here. The next session is a question and answer session, which our revered speakers are going to take us through. So I'll just introduce them. As I introduce them, they just come and take their seats. So Professor Lydia Ziato, she's Vice Chancellor of UHAS and former Dean of School of Nursing and Midwifery at the University of Ghana. Please, she is the one taking her seat. A round of applause, please. You can sit. The next person, Dr. Angela Dramina-Boaje, she's Executive Director of the ARC Foundation and a legal practitioner, also a women's rights advocate. And then the last, certainly not the least, we have Dr. Hilary Amesika Bedema. She is a lawyer. She's a women's rights activist. She's a member of the UN Committee on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. A round of applause, please. All right. So we are going to have this session in at most 30 minutes, so we'll get out of here very soon. This program, as we mentioned earlier, is being organized by the MasterCard Foundation in partnership with the Springboard Roadshow Foundation. These two organizations have the young people, the youth, at the heart of their interventions. And a lot of the programs they have rolled out have benefited one way or the other the young people. And so if you have been with us from morning, you know that the things we have talked about have all been about the young people, empowering the young people to be able to speak up, to be able to approach policymakers, to be able to tell them the things they want them to do for them. Because like it or not, the youth is the future generation. Okay, so I'm going to start with some questions that we have received from across board. We have questions from Zoom, from Facebook, and from the audience. I'll begin with one very interesting question.
Well, thank you very much, Tinkrama. Right.
Yes.
I love to pronounce the name right.
Thank you.
Yes. We were young too when we started. Very young, in fact. And if you remember Prof talking about the fact that she started breaking it little by little, in a sense, that's the kind of journey that most of us have gone. We grew up in the same culture, you know, children are seen, not heard. But whenever you get an opportunity and you step into it, then you start the breaking. Okay, so that's what I'll tell him or her. Is it a him? A him. That please, don't look so much at the restrictions than that you look at opportunities. And at every opportunity, take a step. At every opportunity, my father used to help us to debate a lot. I think I was the last born of my mother's children, but I would come into the debate as though, you know, I am also, remember, you don't walk alone. Okay? That's where the issue of mentors come in, the issue of counselors, the issue of advice from other people who have gone ahead of you. You don't walk alone. Because you don't walk alone, there are people who can show you what to do, what steps to take, how you can even fail and try again. Okay? And I identify with what you said. Exactly. Failing and trying again. We've all been there. Okay? We don't let that stop us. And we use that opportunity and the advice and mentorship we have from other people to still go ahead.
Thank you so much, Dr. Angela. I hope you answered quickly wherever you are. Yes, Prof, please go ahead. Please look into this camera for me so that we can, when you're answering this one. Yeah.
It's coming now. I just want to add something briefly to it. Young people, some of you are cutting coats that you cannot wear. Abba, you start the advocacy small, you gain the experience. So, for example, you belong to a church. You are in the youth ministry. What did you advocate for the youth in your church? You learn from that. Then you do your community or extended family, and then you build on it. You want to start big. We don't do that, oh, you break your neck. So you grow your strength, your credibility, your experience as you advocate and you journey along before you realize you are out there. So just take one step at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Lydia. I'll give you a substantive question, but let me give a bite to Dr. Hilary as well. So this question is coming from Anderson from Accra. He says, what are some of the barriers preventing women in rural areas from participating in women empowerment program? Since you have been at the forefront of advocacy for women, so maybe you can answer this for us.
Thank you. The barriers are many. In addition to all the other barriers everybody else, women elsewhere face, we talked about a lot of them today. We talked about the cultural barriers, the ideological barriers, the failure of policy, the dual burden, poverty, lack of that standard of education, lack of confidence. We spoke about everything. In addition to that, being a rural woman is also another layer of an obstacle or a disadvantage. We call that intersectionality, or multiple forms of discrimination. That means that in addition to everything else everybody faces, your particular situation is also a disadvantage. So, and of course, being a rural woman, the distance from the centers of power and influence and voice are also complicit in the disadvantage that rural women face. But that is not to say rural women are down and out. They have an immense store of indigenous knowledge, indigenous experience. They have an immense advantage with the proximity to certain resources as well. The matter is not so much as to look at disadvantage as to leverage advantage.
Right.
And this is the note I would end on. Thank you.
Let me go to Professor Lydia. In leveraging the advantage that we have, I remember in one of the sessions we're talking about women being restricted to the extent that some even can't own lands in their name, properties in their name and all that. How far do you think that we have come as far as empowering the woman in the rural area, the woman in general and the woman in the rural area? And do you see us making progress in the next, say, 10 years to come? And when you finish that, I'll give the audience some time to also ask you questions.
Thank you very much. So, because I grew up in the rural area and I broke the barrier or the glass ceiling, I don't see being in the rural area as a problem. I see it as a unique situation, context, advantage, name it. So in that rural area is your church. And the church, you go for conventions, that national or district. What role are you playing in it as a woman? In that context is a market. And now the markets, they have groups that they form. They have the woman leader. In that rural area are festivals. So I don't see it. I don't see rural and urban. I see that individuals might make decisions to say, I want to be a woman of a difference. I want to be a woman leader. I want to be a woman that I do not need somebody to feed me, to clothe me, or to make me who I am. I want to see a woman, be it rural or urban, who is ready to sacrifice, to invest in herself, her children, her family. I don't see rural, I don't see urban. I see people with a particular mindset who can break barriers. That is me.
Right.
But nationally, I mean, I don't like talking about barriers, problems. I want to see solutions. We've come a long way. It's not 100%. We are better than some countries, but as the individual woman, be it rural or urban, we can make a difference. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now let's take the first question from the row to my left. Anybody from there who has a question, you can raise your hands. We'll bring the microphone to you. Anybody? Anybody? If not, we'll move to the middle row. Anybody? Okay, middle row. Does anybody has a question? In fact, it's just 2 rows anyways. Okay, there's one at the top there.
Thank you. And my question is in 2 folds. Considering discrimination against women, how do you manage being a woman? How the system or how your work environment favors or contributes or plays a part in your pregnancy intention or your quest to be a parent, navigating that through career? How do you manage all these things, ensuring that the aspect of discrimination is on the low? Thank you.
Okay, do you have a particular person you want to answer this question?
To all the panelists, since they are all women and they've all gone through.
Okay, so then let me start from Dr. Hilary, please.
Thank you. How do you navigate discrimination? First and foremost, I think you should be aware of discrimination. You must be aware of direct discrimination, and you must be aware of indirect discrimination. Because when the discrimination is direct, you can see it and confront it. But when it is normalized, it is patronized, and it is made to make you look looking at night because you're so precious to us. You are the bedrock of society. You are our mothers. So stay indoors at night. And then the men who go out to work at night earn 3 times the salary. Indirect. You must be aware of those and ask for solutions. Demand solutions in the interest of non-discrimination, in the interest of the laws we have and the conventions that we've ascribed to. In doing this, there's safety in numbers. That's why we talk about networks and coalitions. You alone may not get that far. This morning I spoke, or I flagged the issue of what I call sisterhood, that we join forces because women together, if we work together, we can get solutions. Dr. Angela has given several examples of the work that we've done together. You come together and make sure that the provisions on, you were talking about maternity discrimination, are addressed. Actions are taken against those that need to have actions taken against them. Education is given to those who have education. Even all that done, you will still face some problems. You need to have a good support system that can help you, because face it or not, if you have children, you've got to leave them somewhere to be able to go to work. You need a good support system that can help you, cushion you, and you in turn, as I said this morning, pay it forward to someone else. A brief answer to a very complex question. Thank you.
Dr. Angela, do you have any contributions? I have a substantive question for Professor Lydia, so I won't let you take this question, but you can add anything.
Okay, let me add, because it is a complex question, and people deal with it differently. One of the things I would say is whenever women get a chance to lead, they must be the difference, in a sense that you become like a light in your organization, okay? When the light shines, it dispels darkness. It also means that you're looking out for all those little murky things that can affect people you work with, particularly women, in a way that is inimical to them. For example, people look at things like toilets, okay? If I walk into an organization, I look out for how many toilets there are for men and how many toilets there are for women to tell me how gender sensitive the organization is. Now, most people will say that if there are almost equal numbers of females and males in an organization, and you make 4 toilets for men, 4 toilets for women, you are being equal. No, you are not. Because the woman's physique is different in how they use the toilet. And so often when you go to organizations, you would find a queue. Whenever there's a meeting, there's a queue at the women's toilet. The men, they have the toilet, and they have the one that they can go and stand and, and pee into it. And all they need is to The woman has to take her slit off, just her skirt, sit on a toilet which may not be clean, which means it may be affecting her hygiene. You look out for those things that people may not even be aware of, that is actually impinging differently and in an inimical way on women, and work on it. Easy for companies to make clubhouses, never a crash. Okay? Who will go to the clubhouse? Usually after, yes, because they don't have to go and cook dinner. But you have to rush home, and yet you have children to take care of. And so these are leadership of women. That's different. It's very, very key to answering this kind of question. But finally, some of us live a blended existence. What you see is what you get. If I'm here, I'm standing here as an advocate speaking to people. If I get home, I'm grandma, mommy, this, that. When next time you see me on the street, I'm in the market. You know, a blended existence so that somehow you can get along and not crash. Okay.
I hope you have been answered. Okay, then let me go to Professor Lydia. Somebody is asking, how can we increase the number of highly qualified healthcare professionals from the Volta region, like Professor Aziato in Ghana? He's Kofi from Amasaman. And I'm very interested in this topic because recently we've had issues about mass exodus of health professionals. The numbers keep declining. You keep hearing brain drain, doctors saying we are leaving if you don't solve this problem for us, we are going, you know, and all of that. There is a problem that exists. Already the numbers are not enough and they are now declining. So he's asking, how can we increase? He is specific to the Volta region, but you can generalize your answer.
This is not part of my... Anyway, thank you for the question. Yes, we have trained, and we are training. Yes, there are people who have been trained, they are still in the house, they are not yet employed. Yes, we have trained, and some people have left, and some people are still leaving. It's a human choice. It is individual decisions. You cannot stop somebody from traveling. But what I am saying is that the needed resources should be provided for us to train more, quality products. The employment opportunities should be increased for people who are yet to be employed, And because I've traveled a lot and I see how people suffer when they travel, proper support, proper orientation, proper systems to be instituted so those who travel will not be disadvantaged. My year group 1997, about 80% or so or more of my group traveled. And I have gotten my PhD, I'm a professor. Some traveled, they never went to school. They've been working here and there. Some, they are having low back pain. They are sick here, there. There are issues we cannot talk about here. This is not a forum for it. But I'm calling for a system where the government is involved in migration of healthcare professionals, not only nurses and midwives. And I'm also calling for the support and resources for us to train more. And those who we train should be employed. So that is my answer. Thank you.
Something for the news people, isn't it? So now I'll go to a question that has been directed to Miss Hillary. The national gender policy. The person said, this is Ekia from the audience. She said, the policy talks about economic opportunities, but what does it mean in practical terms for women in Ghana? Are there real-life examples here in Ghana? Real-life examples? I'm not just here, sitting right here. But yes, Miss Hillary, the person is asking, are there real-life examples from economic...
Questioner's mind.
at another level. The questioner is probably thinking about women who have maybe left school, maybe after the SS level.